Hello everyone. I am Harish Pingali from Brady Corporation. I'm talking to you today from our EMEA headquarters, or Europe and Middle East Africa headquarters here in East Flanders in Belgium. I live in Ghent, and I'm going to talk about today automated temperature tracking using UHF RFID. So this is a solution that we're bringing to market. We brought to market quite recently, and it's an innovation from our innovative effort from our R&D and our development teams, basically. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity today. So I'd like to start about introducing Brady. So Brady is a multinational company with more than 5,000 plus employees. We're an American company headquartered in Milwaukee, but we are a global organization. Our Europe and Middle East Africa headquarters is in Zela, like I mentioned. But we have a full global presence, and Brady is an industrial labeling solution company traditionally, but over the period we have acquired multiple brands to combine into a identification solution company. So today we have labels, we have our smart labels, we have printers, scanners, RFID readers, and then software systems to complete the full ecosystem. So we are essentially playing in the identification ecosystem market. And I'm the global senior product manager for RFID. So in terms of RFID, Brady has acquired Nordic ID in 2021. So together with Brady's capability on the RFID tags, complemented with the Nordic ID acquisition, which brings more than 20 years of R&D expertise into RFID readers and antennas, we put together the Brady RFID team, as we call it now, powered by our Nordic ID technology brand. So we are our team is a fully focused RFID team working on innovative RFID solutions to solve problems in the key industries that we target. So moving forward. So yeah, basically I want to start with UHF sensor tag solutions. Today, UHF sensor tags are a reality. I know some of the speakers earlier has also touched on this point. So at Brady, we have actually kind of productized and tested temperature and monitoring. We also have some R&D activity with strain gauge sensing and other sensings as well. But today we completely productized and we are comfortable with temperature sensing RFID, UHF RFID labels, and moisture sensing UHF RFID labels. So the sensor RFID labels is actually game changer because most of the times you have active sensors which requires battery and which requires a lot of maintenance and continuous support, which increases the total cost of ownership for the solution. Whereas for UHF passive tags, like others have mentioned, these are powered by the radio waves coming from the RFID antenna. So in that sense, this is a game changer for actually kind of identifying the environmental conditions using UHF sensor. So the ecosystem consists of a sensing label paired with an RFID reader. It could be a handheld RFID reader or a fixed RFID reader plus an antenna. And then the labels are attached to an asset that you want to track. And then you can start monitoring using any of the software systems that are available for you, either from us or from anywhere else. So basically, this brings you a full solution for sensor tagging solution. Yeah, this can be temperature tracking, this can be moisture tracking, or it can be both, or it can be any other sensor tracking as well. Like I said, the advantage is it's powered by RFID itself, and the accuracy levels are pretty decent in the market today. or with us as well, with Brady as well. So the key problem that we are addressing into the market today is actually with lithium ion battery manufacturers actually. So if you see, the biggest challenge in the lithium ion battery value chain is that they can catch fire. And this happens because a lithium ion battery pack consists of individual battery cells, and due to any of the defects during the manufacturing or during the handling, either by a mechanical harm or an electrical harm, or any kind of defect that comes in these individual cells, could actually kind of cause thermal runaway, what they call thermal runaway in the battery world, which is basically like the battery starts to heat, and a battery's individual, it starts in an individual cell or a group of cells, and it could go to the whole battery. And then once it starts to heat up, it suddenly catches fire, and then the temperature rises exponentially, it catches fire, and it can be catastrophic for the whole manufacturing plant, or the whole storage facility. And then if you see in the value chain, when the battery is actually in action in a car or in a bus or in a vehicle, in an automotive vehicle, you do have these battery management systems or battery monitoring systems. The BMS systems can be able to track the status of your battery and could generate an alert. But especially during the early phases of the value chain, during the manufacturing, production, and in transit, the typical challenge of addressing this safety concern is actually a huge challenge in the industry today. So the current alternatives are, there are manual checks that are happening with different at different levels depending on the severity and the risk. People walk around with a infrared camera, or there are some other active RFID solutions that are alternative solutions. With our early customers, what we have identified is they either are too manual intensive, or if they're automated, if they're too expensive. So the solution that we are bringing to UHF RFID is actually a good trade-off between the accuracy, automation, efficiency, and the cost. So this the problem is clear, and then the solution is actually the most cost-effective one. So what is the solution there? So yeah, basically you use, like I said, the UHF temperature tag on the individual battery packs or cells, depending on what you handle. And then you use a combination of either a fixed RFID reader and an antenna to continuously monitor the temperature, or you use a handheld manually if there are interventions. But we typically develop and we typically roll out an automated solution using your fixed reader and antenna. So if you see the whole system overview, so you basically have either in your manufacturing or in your storage, but here I'm visualizing more a storage setup where you store multiple batteries. So every RFI, every individual item, every battery cell or battery pack is actually tagged with a sensing RFID, temp sensing RFID label. And then you have fixed RFID readers and antennas. So with our fixed RFID readers and antennas, we'll be able to achieve 100% coverage to track the individual battery cells or packs, and then continuously monitor. So our software system behind the screens continuously monitors the change in temperatures, and whenever it hits a threshold, it automatically generates an alert either through SMS or through an email. So that's the overall high level system overview that we are showcasing here. So when it comes to the components of this solution, like I said, here we use our Brady FR22 fixed reader with a 16-port multiplexer. The 16-port multiplexer is actually very critical for this solution, as this massively brings down the total cost of ownership, because with the 16 ports, we will be able to cover 16 we will be able to reach 16 antennas that could cover multiple racks or shelves or multiple areas in the line, in the production. So the overall coverage increases massively, which in turn reduces our total cost of ownership. So together with our fixed reader, we use our either GA25 or GA30, one of our antennas, which have industry's best performance, or industry level matching performance with the top players. So these are the readers and antennas as part of the solution. And then the next important component is the labels or tags. So there we have our Brady off metal label with an Axon Magnus chip actually. So we partner with Axon to get the actual inlay, and we bring the tag and the label. Or we also tested and we are actually recommending also Omni ID Sense IQ 430 for on metal label, which is also an industry partner who brings in labels. So depending on your need, if it could be an on metal or off metal label, temperature sensing label that or tag that actually kind of monitors your tag. And when you go to an actual typical battery storage deployment, on the left hand side you can see an actual deployment that I have done a couple of months ago, which was a real great success for our customer. I can't name the customer for obvious reasons, but but to give you a sense of the actual deployment, so you can see on the left hand side we have our one of our GA30 antenna, like I mentioned, covering 2 to 3 individual pallets, which are storing battery packs in one shelf, basically. And then on the right hand side you could see the overall overview of how we track those. So you could actually kind of individually place antennas on the shelves such a way that you get 100% accuracy of the read rate. And once you get to that point, it's matter of monitoring the temperature using a software. And then whenever there is a raise in temperature with respect to the ambient temperature, you immediately raise an alert. So we do, our software system is capable of sending an alert via an API through SMS or through email to the right person who should be involved. So actually today what happens in a typical battery manufacturing plant is that if they realize that the temperature is raising, they can't catch it very early, so because they do manual checks most of the times, and then manual checks are done hourly or once in 2 hours, depending on the risk of the risk of the area and the zone. And then sometimes you might not catch it at the right stage, but since you're doing an automated tracking in the solution, the idea is that you catch the raise in temperature very quickly, and you identify the zone at which this temperature is raising. So in turn, you can easily isolate the battery pack. So this reduces actually the overall downtime, because typically this is a real safety concern. So they have to isolate the battery pack to a separate zone and then deal with it to kind of see that the battery, the defective battery is under control, and that doesn't disrupt the operations anymore. And that's when they restart the operation. So in most cases, there's a lot of downtime that is involved when there is this defective battery, just to avoid any catastrophic effects, right? So either you have a huge risk of catastrophic effects, or you optimize for higher safety through a lot of manual intervention. And then the solution kind of addresses the both. So you automate, so you remove the manual interventions and you give peace of mind. And then you also have, on the other hand, you catch the defective batteries with temperature trends raising very early, so that you have enough time and less unavoidable downtime. So that's the solution that we are bringing to the market. And one of the key component for our customers is the alarm setup, actually. So the software component that we give have has called Radia, which is our RFID middleware, where you can actually configure the thresholds for individual tags, or bunch of a group of tags, or group of batteries, I would say, or group of assets that you have. And you can really set lower limits and higher limits, and whenever the temperature crosses the limit, it automatically raises an alert. And in these kind of cases, mostly you have the higher limit, you set a upper limit, and when compared to the ambient temperature, when the temperature goes above a certain limit, depending on the operating conditions you have, it automatically raises an alert. And then we also have reports and dashboards on our software system. But most of the times, the critical component is an alert for somebody to actually raise. But it's also critical to have the temperature logs and reports for audit and for other purposes as well. So we do have an option to have it stored. There's always an option to have a dashboard, an overall dashboard, depending on the need of the customer. Like, some of them really look at the dashboard to see, okay, how many assets are being tracked, which is not the case with everywhere, right? So most of the times, what's important for our customers is to have peace of mind, that they know that that their assets are being tracked automatically, and then they're being alerted when it really matters, or when they have to make an action. So that's what we're really focusing on. If you see the overall process, so basically, like I said, this is more during the production, and the target market that we're focusing currently is mostly on the production and storage. So in these areas, so when the battery is manufactured, we automatically attach a label, we attach a label, and then we encode the label, and then we start monitoring at the zone where it has been activated, actually. So depending on the customer operations, they can choose where to start the tracking. Some of them do it at the assembling point, and some of them do it at the shop floor storage, actually, to the main warehouse storage, and in transit, and probably in the in transit warehouse storages, and things like that, depending on the value chain. And when the battery is added to the storage, immediately the data can be linked through an API to their existing systems, like to their warehouse management system or any other system, because our middleware is capable of delivering API data of the temperature sensing. So depending on which stage of the project you are, either we are in a pilot phase or an actual delivery phase, there's possibility to do integrations or to have it into a database. And whenever there is a raise in temperature, like I said, there will be an alarm. It can be a real alarm on the shop floor through a IO link port, or it can be through an SMS or an email to a right person who could take an action. And when the battery is removed, the monitoring, when the tag is removed from the battery, automatically the tracking stops, right? So that's the whole life cycle. And in terms of stakeholders, and the key needs that we see, actually, so there are different stakeholders are involved, like I said. So the key stakeholders are on the left, operations, because today there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of unavoidable downtime. There's a lot of downtime that is involved, avoidable downtime, actually. So you could actually reduce that downtime There's a manual interventions today for doing a lot of audit checks and temperature checks. So that kind of reduces their overall cost and time. And from a health and safety standpoint, you have early detection, peace of mind, and employee safety, because you're relying on automated solution rather than doing an individual manual solution. And for warehouse and logistics, like a warehouse manager or a logistics supervisor, the idea is that you have real-time alerting depending on which part you are in the value chain. I mean, you could have a reader and antenna inside you could have full coverage inside your warehouse, but you could also have it during the logistics phase in your trailers and trucks. You have a reader antenna setup where you could actually monitor things. Today, we are more focusing on the warehouse aspect there to get efficient warehousing and real-time alerting. And then you have insurance providers as well in the game, where for them it's more on the risk reduction, and for our customers it's also a possibility to have additional safety, which in turn gives more uh, which in turn gives more safety for the insurance provider. So there's a possibility for claim reduction in the longer run as well. So basically, the solution brings together the advancements in the technology on the UHF sensing tags and our existing capabilities on readers and antennas, and RFID capabilities to bring an automated solution for tracking temperatures. So this is the solution that we are targeting specifically into the temp tracking for lithium ion. As we expand this could go into multiple other like cold chain monitoring or moisture sensing solutions, and other sensor monitoring solutions as well. So this could be easily extrapolated, or it could be easily implemented into multiple other industries for where you have like real-time sensing needs, basically. So you're really bringing passive RFID plus IoT together with this solution, which is like really interesting personally for me, being in RFID for 12 years. 10 years ago in RFID, this was actually the whole holy grail or dream, which is actually a reality, and is possible today. So that's all I have today to present. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Happy to address any questions or comments.